My name is Lisa Watts. I'm Chief People Officer at Astra Service Partners. We run a network of nationwide mechanical contracting and service providers around the US and Canada. So we run businesses that deliver HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and building automation services to customers in the commercial space, really broadly around the US, and now we have 3 locations in Canada. So when we made the decision to move away from Microsoft Forms and agree to use a software for engagement surveys, I started looking really broadly. I had sort of a base of knowledge around some of the tools that I'd used in businesses before, but I wanted to open up the search to anything I could find that might have developed in the market. So I found CultureMonkey, along with other ones. And so I first started with kind of open source information. How are the reviews? Was I seeing anything on the internet that looked kind of troubling or exciting? And I did see some great reviews on CultureMonkey, enough that I thought, well, I'd like to check this one out and learn a little bit more about it. And then really, as I worked through that process of talking to vendors, learning about the software, I was really impressed with the team. They differentiated themselves almost immediately by just being very honest, authentic, straightforward. Like, I feel like in the first meeting, I understood the model, the software, the pricing, and their commitment to customers really fast. Whereas other vendors often kind of overcomplicate that initial conversation, and they want to have another conversation and another one. And I was moving very quickly, actually. So I really liked working with the team immediately. One of the things I asked all of the companies was to share a reference with me, someone who had worked with the software before and worked with them. CultureMonkey was the first one to give me a reference almost immediately, someone that was relevant to my work, and I had a great conversation with her. And so really it came down to the team. I knew I would need some help. I was actually pretty ambitious with this and wanted to roll this out really quickly. And so even, looking at lots of different platforms that worked, the differentiator for me was, do I feel good about the team, that not just the sales team, but the implementation team? And do I trust them that they're going to sort of come forward with a good solution? There were a couple other test points that with that sales process where I asked questions that other companies, I didn't like the answers as much. Things that sort of showed me that CultureMonkey was really trying to earn our business and deliver a really good product and not just selling me something to sort of leave me with for 3 years and let me sort out. And so I felt really good about the team, and I felt good about it ever since. Like, that's really the differentiator for the company. It's really true. I would say that I've told people the story because I do have to work with software vendors quite a bit. I have a lot in my career, and I'm a little skeptical just out of the gate. Sometimes these are very expensive solutions that you don't understand very well. You're making a pretty significant financial investment. And this team has been great. It's one of the best software companies I've ever worked with. And the product actually works really well too. So the two things combined is like a great formula. So when we were just using forms, we were limited to just sentiment information and ENPS information across our portfolio of companies. We couldn't really drill down into it beyond the company level. So we would send this out. It would also be kind of hard to tell what our response rate was because it was kind of an opt-in. So we have a very decentralized business model. We're really proud of the way we run the business, but it is also very complex. We don't run a centralized sort of top-down business. We run really separate entities around the United States. And so they have a lot of autonomy. They run their own HRIS systems, their own HR. So trying to connect with those companies is technically difficult. So using the forms let us get something out to everybody really fast. But the limitations were that we couldn't get very far with the data. And so we were having these conversations in the leadership team about how we're actioning survey data. If we're getting all this information twice a year, really not doing anything with it if we're really honest and we look in the mirror. We're trying, but what impact are we really having? So switching to CultureMonkey and connecting to our real HR data, so employee records and sort of how they fit in an organization and their hierarchy in the organization, has just been a game changer for us. It has been a lot of work for us because we don't have that central HR system, and CultureMonkey has worked with us to make this work. So I think they've really gone above and beyond what we might imagine to help us work in our own system. And now I can see engagement information down to the manager level, which is just a completely different world for us. Our ambition here as a chief people officer, within the next 12 to 18 months, I'm envisioning an organization of 5,000 people that understand how to use engagement data. And in order for them to do that, they have to be able to see the results. And so we've started that process now. We started training managers. And so it's a conversation now. We didn't have it before. And now we're really having hey, how are your EMPS results? How's your engagement going? And helping have that conversation. And the platform is just like the first stop to let us start that process. So in terms of manager adoption and employee adoption, we're just getting started. So we've actually only started with our really senior level managers, and it has not been easy. The tool is easy to use. People are more challenging sometimes. And so this is a major change management project for us. We're having positive results and we're seeing engagement with the platform. I would say that it's also kind of it's a long game. It's not a turnover. It's not like an immediate thing that happens overnight. Our first cycle, there was actually a lot of skepticism for the platform because of our decentralized nature. This was actually the first time we ever sent a communication to every team member across our network in 4 years. So we've never done that before. So even for us, that was kind of a big deal to say, hey, we have a trusted platform. You're going to get an email. That takes time. So we worked through that. We've built trust in the platform. I would really say with a second cycle, we're starting to see that it's starting to climb. People trust it. They're going, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is pretty cool what I can see in here. So we're working from sort of the top down in the organization to get trust for using it for actionable data. At the team member level, all the way to all the way through the organization, we're seeing increased trust in the platform as we do two things. One is consistency. They recognize it. They understand it. They understand it's anonymous, and that's part of using this platform versus doing something ourselves. Nobody has to worry that we're doing anything in the background. We can't see their actual names and responses, and that's part of using CultureMonkey. And so we've built that trust. The second thing is that they're seeing their managers action the results. And so I think that those two things have to be true. They have to trust the platform and they have to see the action. And so CultureMonkey can't do that for us, right? That's something we have to do. And so we're able to use it. The more that happens, I think the more we'll get trust, the more it'll become part of our operating rhythm, and the more our employees and our managers will use it. So we're just starting the journey, but the software platform and the team has helped us do that, and is really going above and beyond with engagement with managers too. So when we get questions, Karthik helps us. We'll directly interact with them, help them figure out what they need. We'll send custom reports or data to them. So it's really, really helpful to know that. And so when they have a question, we get them an answer. And I don't have to have the answers. We can go to CultureMonkey, which is awesome. So I think because we're in the early stages of this, most of the results haven't felt surprising or really earth-shattering at this point, because we also have been doing engagement surveys now for 5 years. One of the most interesting things that we're starting to see and starting to be able to do is actually compare our survey data to some of our internal data. And so in my role, one of the most exciting things that I can do now is I can look at retention data, I can look at hiring data, things like that. And I'm actually looking for correlations across the information I'm getting in CultureMonkey. And I'm finding some interesting things, like which parts of our population are kind of reporting the most levels of concern with parts of the survey, right? They might say that recognition is an issue for them compared to everyone else. And then we're able to look at is there actually hard data here to say, actually we're losing that population faster than other populations in the business. So that's really interesting. People are very interested. We haven't had enough trend data to really know for sure what's going on, but we're seeing directionally some interesting things around those populations. And I think excitingly, we're going to be able to say, okay, this particular part of the population is asking for this. What can we do? How do we move the needle? How do we make their employee experience better? And going a little bit deeper. So that's really what we're getting out of it is this ability to look at trends and to actually look at other pieces of the business and ask ourselves a lot of really important questions and actually have the hope to be able to answer some of those questions, which we've never been able to do before. Yeah, I think the custom reports are, so I think of those in a couple of categories now as a user of the platform. The CultureMonkey team produces a custom report for us after the survey, which we can look through as a leadership team. The sentiment and comment analysis is really helpful. We're able to take a look at what people are saying, what are the major themes we're seeing from that. That's very helpful. It's very easy to digest. They're really easy to read, something I can share really quickly with everyone. So that's powerful. Also, the platform now, since we've been using it, has developed the ability for us to export data more effectively. And so for our team, we're kind of a data heavy team. Like for a non-technology company, we actually use quite a bit of data. We believe data is pretty powerful and helps us see insights into the business and make decisions. So that's been a major improvement already in the 6 months that we've used the platform, to be able to now, I can sort of slice and dice our data however I want to. And that's really, really helpful to me. So I might have a question like, what does this look like if I look at the team level, across experience level and employee type? And then I can export that out of the system. I can look at it, and that's been really helpful for me to just like dig into these different dimensions that a lot of platforms, I don't think, give you that ability. They kind of hold your data and won't let you necessarily look at it the way you want to. One of the things the CultureMonkey team has been really great about is just this custom reports, this custom questions. It's our data. We can look at it however we need to, and they'll help us do that, which has been fantastic. If I were to recommend CultureMonkey, which I would, by the way, I would recommend CultureMonkey to other organizations. I think the problem it solves the best is having a user-friendly interface to conduct your engagement surveys or any other types of surveys. That's user-friendly for the employees as well as the managers. And so the system's just simple, it works well, and it allows you to go as deep as you want with your data. And so it kind of does all of that at once. It's pretty capable. It lets you do, as long as you have the data in your system, you can slice and dice your data however you need to and your views. And so you can go really deep if this is really important to you. If this is a quick exercise for you, you can also use the system and run the reports. You can customize everything. And so I think just creating this like environment where you can send this easy, visually appealing survey out to everyone. It can be consistent, and then you can do whatever you need to do on the back end, and you can create this experience for managers. It absolutely makes that like very easy. It is a great experience. And so, yeah, I think that's what I would say, is just give it a try, because it's a great team to work with, a great platform to use, and it's just like intuitive for a user, which is really, really important.